There's a new book out, and it ought to be read. Menacing Face Worth Millions, A Life of Charles Bronson. We talked to author Brian D'Ambrosio.
Charles Bronson was my first hero, and I was always drawn to the fact that Charles Bronson seemed, looked, and felt like an anti-hero. So there was something about Charles Bronson that seemed so much like a renegade and so unconventional and atypical that I found him fascinating from the first time I remember seeing him as a young boy. I always found his screen presence alluring, enigmatic, and provocative.
This book has a name.
Menacing Face Worth Millions, which is an appropriate title because Charlie is known for his atypical countenance and atypical expression, and a face that he once said that looked like a rock quarry that had been dynamited. I spoke and interviewed relatives and screen stars and former co-stars in a lot of his films, and directors and people who work with him, and people who actually lived in the same community, correct? Charlie Bronson used acting to escape poverty. He was one of 15 children born into a very, very poor Lithuanian coal mining immigrant background in southwestern Pennsylvania. Charlie once said that he wasn't born with a spoon in his mouth, it was more like a shovel. Growing up, he felt as if he were the lowliest of all human beings and the lowliest of all human forms because his dad was a miner. They lived in dreadful conditions. Charlie went down into the mines. He got a taste of the mines and never went back. So he used acting as a way to escape poverty and as a way to better himself.
Another D'Ambrosio book of excellence. Menacing Face Worth Millions, A Life of Charles Bronson. Look for the works of Brian D'Ambrosio. Menacing Face Worth Millions, A Life of Charles Bronson is available in print and as a digital book on Amazon.com.